Alright you guys, so the video is finally happening. This took way longer than I expected to because I had to have this set up, you know what I mean? I'm trying to look pretty, even though I'm not very pretty, but that's besides the point. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 things that I love about my Kia Stinger. Obviously in the last video, I gave it some I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did. I told you guys what I didn't like about the car, but obviously, for the most part, I love this car. There's nothing about it that I would change. Just kidding. There's a bunch of I would change. That's what aftermarket stuff's for. What I mean is I don't regret my purchase. I really, really love this car, and for anybody that's looking for these cars or looking at these cars and is curious as to what's to love about them, I'm gonna tell you. Number 1, twin turbo V6. If you're like me and you're around the age of anywhere from like 20 to let's say 30, 35, you've seen Fast and Furious. I am 24, so I'm right in the middle of that little demographic I just gave you guys, and I love Fast and Furious. Something about that movie really made me just like cars, but I never really fully got into cars because of the movie like a lot of people say they do. Did I know I was gonna end up getting the car like 15 years later that, you know, somehow a Korean car manufacturer makes? No, not exactly, but I'm super glad that the Kia Stinger comes with the twin turbo V6. The Kia Stinger GT, GT1, GT2 all came with the twin turbo V6, 3.3 liter twin turbo V6. It's a great engine, and the reason it's a great engine is because a guy named Albert Biermann helped develop this car. Now, if you don't know who Albert Biermann is, it's okay. I didn't know who he was either until I kind of did my research on this. Albert Biermann was the former M president at BMW, you know, M. Well, he was there supervising all of that and seeing that they would come out with some of the best cars in the 2000s. The BMW E39 M5, the E46 M3, and even the 1 Series M, which is a super nimble car. I mean, those things are crazy. He was responsible for those cars. So if you didn't know, Hyundai actually offered Albert Biermann a huge bag to leave BMW and come to Hyundai / Kia, because Hyundai kind of does own Kia a little bit, and help them create more of an establishing look and feel to their engines, and kind of giving them that sporty advantage that they didn't have up to that point. Now we have cars like the Elantra N, Veloster N, Kona N, and even the i30N, which is in Europe because the US sucks it and we don't get anything cool. Those were all directly because of Albert Biermann's influence with Hyundai and Kia. And the Kia Stinger is one of the cars that was birthed by this beautiful man. I love this thing. It's great. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that engine. I just want to eat it. I'm so glad he exists, that this car got made because of him. If he wasn't there, I would still be driving in a Kia Rio. So, thank you, Albert, for being the man you are and making this car. It's great. It's wonderful. It's really cool to me that a person that was at BMW making the M cars, the ones that everybody wants, the M. If you haven't driven one, it's great. The Tork is pretty it's pretty peppy. They underrate this car because I think the torque is 376, but I've seen people dyno their cars stock, and actually the torque is more towards like 400. So 400, you know, 400 torque for somebody that, you know, hasn't driven a fast car, that's pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, number 2, Brembo Brakes come stock. Now, I know I mentioned in the last video that the OEM brakes aren't really that good, and what I meant was the brake pads aren't really that good. So they ended up having to change the compound for the American market because Americans can't be bothered with noisy Brembo brakes on a 4,000 pound car that obviously needs the most stopping power because it's a boat. I don't think people realize how heavy the Kia Stinger is. I guess one cool thing about Brembos to me is that if you see them and you recognize the car has Brembos on them, it's kind of like oh snap, like, oh damn, he has Brembos. Does that mean he's fast? That's what I'm thinking. At least that's just me. To me, that was one of the selling points, not the biggest, but one of the selling points was that it had Brembo brakes. I always envision having a car with Brembo brakes and not having to install them myself because my other car, the Kia Forte, comes with some really small brakes, and I ended up finding out that I think a CtsV's Brembo calipers actually fit the car. And then I did a little bit more research. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this swap because I want my Kia Forte to have big old brakes, even though it only has a whopping 150 horsepower or so. But But yeah, I found out it was like way more money than I was willing to spend on that car, and I abandoned that very quickly. So the fact that I got a car that came with Brembo brakes is super cool to me. So Kia, thank you for putting Brembos on it, but next time you put big brakes on a car, how about you just put good rotors and good brake pads on them? Yeah, you were there. You were like halfway there, but it's all good. Let's get into the next. Number 3. The looks and attention. The Kia Stinger is a sexy fucking car. Try to change my mind, it's not gonna happen. I think this car is very attractive looking, especially in the face. The butt, it's still pretty good, but I prefer the front end of the car. I've had people stop next to me at stoplights and ask me, is that a Maserati? Now I understand why they would ask that one, because the script Stinger logo on the back of the car does look like the Maserati logo. I'm not gonna lie, that's besides the point. The fact that people are asking me if it's a Maserati is super cool, because I'm like, yeah, I know it's a Kia. I'm like, yeah, K-I-A. The reason the Stinger looks the way it is because it was designed by Peter Schreier. Who's Peter Schreier? Peter Schreier is the man who designed the Audi TT, one of the coolest looking cars in history. For me, when I got the car, obviously I had already owned a Kia, which I still own, the little Forte. I just wanted to be different. I honestly was eyeing a Charger beforehand, and those cars are super cool to me still to this day. The interior is pretty good, but something about the Stinger, like, it's just being different. I don't see them as often, and I think that's super cool because to me it kind of means they're a little bit different, and I like being different even though I'm basic. Let's get into the next one. Number 4. Driving feel. This car isn't a race car. Does it handle as well as a Mazda Miata? No. Is it as nimble as like a Porsche GT3S? Hell no. But what it is fun. This car is super fun to drive, rear wheel drive. The Stinger kind of feels more raw, even though it's a family sedan that has a hatchback and you can fit probably like a 73-inch TV in the back. The other thing is the mode selection. So there's, I think, 5 modes. There's Smart, Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Custom. Yep, 5. And a lot of cars, when you switch from Comfort to Sport or Eco to Sport, whatever you have, you kind of sometimes don't feel it. But that's not true with the Stinger. You feel the responsiveness. Like in Comfort mode, it kind of feels like it has no balls at all. It's no, nothing. You're not going anywhere. You're getting the best fuel economy ever. As soon as you flick it over once to the right in sport mode, this thing comes alive and it wants to go, obviously, hence why it's called sport mode. I just love the fact that as soon as I put it in sport mode, the revs go up. It's already kicking up because it knows I'm ready, it's ready. Let's party. And then if you want to tone it back down again after, you just did $120 on the freeway and you want to go back down to like 65, you can. You just throw it in Comfort and you're good to go. The duality of that is really cool to me. Being able to put it in Comfort mode, have my fiance sleep, and then rudely interrupt her sleeping by throwing it back in sport mode and racing a Scat Pack is great. That's the most fun thing in the world. Number 5. The interior. I've been in some nice cars in my life because of the last job I was at. I was in Mercedes G-Wagon. I've been in a couple Lamborghinis, a McLaren. Cars that cost a lot of money, more than the house I'm probably in right now. What I can say about the Stinger's interior is it's a nice place to be. I think people forget that you're going to be in the interior literally the whole time unless you have a friend driving your car because you want to look at the outside of it. Other than that, you're on the inside, so why not have it be an enjoyable experience? And the interior and the Stinger is pretty good for the price that I got mine at. I got my car for, I think, $27 and some change, so let's round it up to $30,000. For $30,000, the interior is fantastic. Like, that's great. I have heated seats for those hot days in California when I want my to be even hotter. Too bad I don't have cooled seats, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I got the car that I got. The German brands that everybody wants to own, Kia obviously looked at that and being like, hey, we can make that, but at a cheaper rate. Everything feels like it's really good material, even though it may be some type of plastic, composite, or anything else they may have used to be cost cutting. But for $30,000, this interior, like, look at this thing. Look at that. The sound system is pretty good. Now, I don't have the Harman Kardon like the GT2 does, but it sounds pretty good. But I would have loved to have the Harman Kardon because I heard that thing bumps so good. But hey, I got a twin turbo V6. yeah, I think that's gonna do it. I do appreciate you guys watching the video if you got this far. If you want to buy a Kia Stinger, I highly recommend the V6, because as good as the 4-cylinder turbocharged engine is that they offer as well, it's great for gas mileage, probably for putting around town, a lot better than the V6. But if you want the essential Kia Stinger experience, I highly recommend opting yourself into a V6 if possible. I know the used market right now is dumb because the world's burning, but if you can find yourself one for a decent price with not too many miles on it, I think it's a for sure thing to get a V6. It's just chef's kiss. Now, does it sound as good as a V8? No. But if you like V6 twin turbo sounds, like blow off sounds and turbo spooling up, and a little bit of trumpet action, I think the Kia Stinger will suit you very well. In my next video, I'm actually going to go over the 5 cars that I considered buying before I got my Kia Stinger. So if you guys are interested in that and knowing what cars a Kia Stinger owner was actually looking at before he bought his, go ahead and subscribe. Leave me a like, comment, whatever you guys feel like doing. I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, if you got this far, you're awesome. I hope you're having a great day, great night, great morning. Whenever you're watching this, just hope you're having a good time. And I'll see you guys in the next video.